Hey everyone, welcome back to Wrestling IQ 101. My name is Andrew, alongside Derek and Pat.
What's up, guys?
What up?
And we are joined by David Adams today. How you doing, man?
Hello? Can you guys hear me? We're experiencing a rain delay here. Can you hear me okay? Thank goodness, man. I got worried there for a minute. Thought I had the wrong number. Some elderly lady picked up asking me when I was going to deliver her groceries. Man, but this is Wrestling IQ 101, right?
Absolutely.
The only one.
Man, I'm glad that I got the right number. How you guys doing?
Doing pretty good.
Doing really well now that we're
So who do we got here? We got Andrew, we got Derek, we got Pat. Am I missing a Beatle?
No.
Nah, that's it.
Sweet.
We're all here.
Yeah, well, nobody cares about Ringo anyway. It's all good. So what's going on, guys?
Not much. So, Mr. Adams, you recently just won Announcer of the Year. Can you tell us about that huge honor?
Yeah, honestly, I was at my other job when that happened, and my phone kept blowing up at work, and I'm not allowed to have my phone on at work, and I kept wondering what was going on, so I didn't check it until I got home, and I saw that, and I knew that I had been nominated with a couple of other very, very reputable announcers, and yeah, I mean, when I looked at it looked like there was like 800 votes or something like that. I was like, that seems like pretty much an awful lot, and then I heard that category got more like attention than any other category, more votes for the ring announcer than anybody else. So yeah, thank you to all the fans out there for I won, but thank you for supporting ring announcers, because generally, any good ring announcer knows that, you go there to do your job, but, it's not wrong to say that the fans aren't paying to see the ring announcer. I'm just like an added little, background music to a show. So the fact that over 800 people took the time to put votes in is pretty awesome. MLJ is awesome. It looked like me and him were pretty much, it looked like me and Emil had like 90% of the dang vote. So, Emil's been doing his thing all over. I've been doing my thing. So, you know what? Gosh, this award goes out to Emil. Chris Michael, I just worked with him at Battle Club Pro and Wrestlers Laboratory the other day. There's like so many great announcers out there. So, it's kind of weird just to be like singled out as like ring announcer of the year, but I will take it as an honor. And, we all work hard. So, thank you. I'm one of those guys where I don't really need the acknowledgement, because the guys in the locker room, I know that I respect them and they respect me, and when I go out to a show and there's like 50 fans that hold up David Adams section signs that look just like the Cesaro section signs you see on Raw, I'm like, and I go to them like, you guys know I'm just the ring announcer, right? But it's pretty cool. You get a little bit, shy about that kind of stuff, but it's awesome that I guess I do my job to the best of my ability, and I guess at the end of the day, when you don't try and put yourself over, and your job is to focus on getting other people over, I guess by default, I guess that kind of gets you over with the crowd. So thank you. I'm just doing my job, and I guess they recognize this, so it's kind of awesome.
How did you get started in ring announcing? Like, how does anybody even get into being a ring announcer for wrestling?
Oh man, just be a pain in the ass to enough people, and eventually get opportunity. I actually, I've officially been in the business now. I'm now entering like year 7, but my official wrestling debut, announcing debut was like January 15th, 2011. But in 2008, 2009, I became friends with people that were friends with wrestlers, and I followed them to wrestling shows, and I actually did one dark match for a wrestling show back in 2007 to 2008. And when I say dark match, I mean it was in a roller rink, and the microphone cord was only about 3 feet long, so you couldn't even reach the ring. So you're literally doing it in the dark section of the roller rink. And I got to announce the opening match, and afterwards my buddies that came with me were like, dude, you know that you were better than the house ring announcer, right? And I was like, thank you. And then I don't know, I just never pursued it for a couple of years, and then I don't know, one day I was driving to work, and we have time to talk, right? I'm on here. Am I on a time limit?
No, you're good.
Cool. Just wanted to make sure I'm not taking it from another guest or whatnot. No, one day I'm driving to my crappy ass retail job, and I'm listening to the Danny Bonaducci show. I don't know if you remember, Philadelphia used to have WYSP or whatnot. And in the mornings they had the Danny Bonaducci show, and Danny Bonaducci's famous for being on the Partridge Family, and he's also famous for doing crazy shit. He's been part of a few wrestling bits in his time. Well, at the time, he was having a celebrity boxing match against former baseball badass Jose Canseco.
Yeah,
This might even ring a bell. Like, it was like 2009.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know, and I was just like, you know what? I'm driving to work, and I'm like, I was like, I want to see if I can be his ring announcer. He's crazy, I'm crazy. So I called the radio station up, and they always have like the telephone screener, like YSP, how can I help you? I'm like, yeah, hi. I was curious to see if Danny Bonaducci needed a personal ring announcer for his boxing match, and the dude's just like, are you serious, dude? And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, I really don't mean any disrespect. If the answer is no, then so he's like, well, let me hear you announce. And I'm like, he's like, and then I'm driving, I get stage fright for a second. He's like, all right, dude, I'm going to hang up in 5 seconds. And then out of nowhere, I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, you know him best from the Partridge Family. He is outgoing. He is crazy. He is outlandish. He'll do anything to entertain you. Danny Bonaducci. And then there's like 10 seconds of nothing but silence. And I'm like, oh, shit, this guy hung up on me. And then out of nowhere, he's just like, dude, I didn't expect you to actually announce. That was actually really good. He's like, I'm sorry. He's like, I thought you were just another crazy fan. I'm like, well, I'm crazy, but I'm serious too. So then he puts me on hold. He puts me on hold for like 10 minutes, and then he comes back and he's like, well, listen, I talked to the producer of the show, Metro, and he's like, they're kind of in the middle of a show right now, but send in a tape and we'll see what you can do. Or, we'll see what we can do, but no promises. And this is like 2009. I like literally have no money. I don't know what a DVD is. I have the video camera that produces the little mini VHS tapes that you can convert to a big VHS tape. There's kids out there going, VHS? Yeah, Google VCR. You'll know what it is. So I made a VHS tape and sent it to the radio station on like a Thursday. And next thing you know, on like Monday morning, I get this random unknown number, from my phone, and it's like the producer of the radio station, and he's like, hey man, I'm the producer of the show Metro, we're all watching your video right now. He's like, yeah, we have a VCR here. He's like, we saw the VHS, we kind of laughed, like nobody sends us VHS. So I'm like, yeah, that's all I have. He's like, it's cool, we have a VCR. He's like, we're watching this on our lunch break, this is like really good. He's like, honestly, he's like, here's the deal. He's like, the boxing promotion already has their set ring announcers and timekeepers and everything. He's like, so we can't get you to be his ring announcer. But he's like, Danny likes you, I like you. We all like the fact that you are making the effort. So he's like, can you come to the radio station on Wednesday? We're having a cheerleader pillow fight. The Philadelphia Wings are coming. Their cheerleaders are coming out with a lingerie catalog, a lingerie calendar, and their two cover girls, the hottest girls in the calendar, are going to be having a pillow fight in nothing but their panties and bras. Do you want to come in? I'm like, and they're like, do you want to be the ring announcer for that? They're like, but don't call it in. We want you to do it in the studio live. I'm like, yeah. Where do I sign up? So pulled the old sniffle, called out of work, went to Philly, did my thing there, and and that was fun. I did awesome, and that kind of gave me like the confidence to, all right, this is cool. And that kind of gave me the confidence to form a YouTube or check out YouTube, see what's out there, look at different promotions. And then I made a Facebook profile and literally started just bothering any promotion and messaging. I probably messaged like 50, 60 promotions, like 2000, at the end of 2010 to 2011, letting them know that I wanted to get in the business. And for people that are fans, the hardest thing about getting in the business is getting inside that inner bubble there within the inner walls. I mean, it's easy to be a fan. It's easy, but to actually get accepted and actually get a shot was a little bit harder than expected. So then I got randomly one day I got a message from this guy named Bob Brookfield, Bob the Booker, nicest dude ever. He's like, hey man, I'm the booker for this company called Devastation Wrestling Federation. It's in Pennsauken, New Jersey, which is on the Jersey side, right across the river from good old Philadelphia. And he's like, listen, we already have a ring announcer, but he's like, hey man, if you want to give it a shot, I'll give you the opening match, and there's no pay. So I was like, okay, sounds good. So just January 15th, 2011, I show up there. I get a lot of people see a strange dude. You could tell that this was like one of those tight-knit local companies where everybody knows each other. The this strange dude with his gear bag in his hand. They don't even let me in the door. He's like, "Who are you looking for?" I'm like, "Bob, the booker, Brinsfield." They're like, "Hold on," left me hanging outside. Bob comes up to the door. He's like, "Oh, you made it." He's like, "I got good news and bad news." And I'm thinking, "Oh, great! I traveled 120 miles to get to this joint, and he's gonna cancel me." But I smile. He's like, "Well, the bad news is that the other ring announcer, we don't know where he is, and I guess the good news is that the whole show is yours." So he's like, "Look at it this way. If you suck, then we just never bring you back again. But at least you got a whole show." So I'm like, "Oh, great." He's like, "Get in there, have fun." And then that's when I experienced, a couple cold shoulders at first, and a couple people were cool. And I just kind of walked around and asked people for their information and did my thing. And then I'll never forget when I first got in the ring. I do my thing. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Devastation Wrestling Federation." And then right about that point, I realized there's like 300 people there too. The place drew a pretty good crowd. The next thing you know, everybody starts chanting, "Turn your mic on, asshole! Turn it on!" And I forgot to turn my microphone on, so that was cool. So I was like, "Oh, cool!" I was like, first time I'm ever in front of a live crowd. I was worried about embarrassing myself. Well, now that we've got that out of the way, and then I just went on and did my thing and had a good show, and I worked for them for like a year thereafter. They never invited the other announcer back and just used me, and I used that company as a good stepping stone. Then I started getting into other, and then people started seeing my work, and then I brought a video camera and recorded my own work and put it on YouTube, and just kept it's networking. One promoter says a good thing to another promoter, and then I started working for this company called Triple WA out in Gilbertsville, Pennsylvania. A good guy out there, Mr. Santa. He booked me. I worked for them for like a year or so. I worked for this guy named Mike Marvel out in Schuylkill Valley, Pennsylvania, called New Era Wrestling Federation. I've worked for Samu, the Wild Samoans, WXWC4. I announced for them for 2 years, which was awesome, out of Allentown, Pennsylvania. That company's got a lot of great tradition and history, and I worked for a lot of shows, a lot of small promotions. I never cared about crowd size. I just wanted to get my work in. Work with a lot of good hidden talent. There's a lot of good talent out in Pennsylvania, where I started working a lot of shows. And then I got a couple of good breaks in the local area. What was then known as PWS, and everybody's like, "Oh, PWS," but no, I had a good opportunity with Pat Buck and other unspoken about members of that company there that gave me a great opportunity. Obviously, that transformed into WrestlePro, which is my home fed there. And they've been nothing but awesome to me, provided me a good platform. House of Glory, Brian Excel, Amazing Red. I've worked for them for they just had their 6-year anniversary event, and I believe I've announced every single one of them, so I've been there a while. Carlos now at Battle Club Up Pro. I just announced an awesome show on Saturday. That's been off the chain. I've had an opportunity with a Jeff Jarrett and Sanjay got me hooked up there through a Global Force Wrestling. I've done a couple of their local Northeast shows there when they come up to the area. And I guess everything, if you do it the right way, and some people want to get in the business and just want to start big. I think you become more humble, and you appreciate the business a little bit more if you start off with smaller, humble beginnings. I think everybody should work in front of crowds of like 5 in a gymnasium that can hold 1,500 people, and see if you can keep the energy as if the place was packed. I think that's a good test for anybody, because if you can do that in your mind, and then when you actually are in front of like a crowd of 1,500 people, I think it'll make the transition a little bit easier for you.
So, while the other wrestlers are training and taking bumps, are you in the corner talking to yourself? Like, how much practice goes into it, and what are you doing during training sessions? How much work do you put into training your voice?
Oh, me? I must look like the biggest lunatic to people at stoplights when I'm driving. Dude, years ago, I was at a yard sale, and I found a crappy microphone for like 25 cents. I keep that thing in my car as a practice microphone, and you'll see me at red lights. I'm looking in my rearview mirror. I'm practicing my form. I'm announcing. Anybody that doesn't know what the hell I'm doing is just like, yo, that guy is straight up batshit crazy. Oh, yeah. Dude, commutes to work are my best time to practice because it's downtime. Some people can listen to music. There's only so much music to listen to, and then turn off the music and just practice my announcing form, different breathing techniques. Put the stress on different syllables of people's names. I don't know. I mean, anybody can get up on a microphone and read words off of a card, but I try and focus on the small details of my job. Like you guys said, you got these big muscular athletes, men and women that are busting their ass, risking their life and limb, and if the worst thing that happens to me is I walk out with a sore throat after the end of the night because I announced too loud, I think I've made out pretty good compared to the bumps and bruises I've seen from these athletes, these gladiators in the locker room. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely, yeah.
Definitely. So yeah, I focus on all the small things. What can I do to make my announcing stand out from other announcers? I've studied a lot of the famous ones, and I don't try and rip off anybody's bit, but I've certainly tried to use many different. There's at least 6 or 7 different influences of announcers that I've seen. Big name announcers, small name announcers that I've seen over time. I look at the little things they do, and then I take my own little artistic twist and try and just make myself an original David Adams out of the deal.
Yeah. Also, you've done some stuff like some TV work with WNLY when they had the show on PWS, and you.
When PWS was doing the TV gig, there was 30-something episodes. Apparently they've taken them all off the internet because somebody bought all the content and they're gonna try and form some kind of a streaming thing live. I'm sure none of the core talent's gonna see a penny off of that, but whatever. I'm just an employee. I don't get into the inner politics, but when that stuff's taken off the internet and that somebody's gonna be profiting off of your work and you're not gonna see a penny of it, and I'm just the announcer, so I can only imagine how the actual performers that are athletes feel about that. But that's another story for another day to be told by another person, I'm sure.
Yeah. So when you were on there, sometimes you'd be like the butt of the joke with like Craig Steele or like Nikos Rikos.
Absolutely. I am whatever they need of me to keep it entertaining and absolutely to keep the wrestlers strong. Absolutely. Me and Nikos Rikos, he has sold it. He has definitely sold me he sold me the Brady Bunch Goes to Hawaii cursed voodoo necklace there. That was a good episode there. I believe I got run over by a car. I choked. I got the Heimlich from Twisted Altar Boy. There's definitely some interesting times. And Craig was always reminding me that his gear costs more than I'm making a year. Absolutely. But those times were good. The letters changed, but the work ethic from a lot of those core guys. You could call it PWS, you could call it WrestlePro. The letter, it's more than just letters. Those guys, we all put a lot of pride and effort into that show, and it was a good time, and it was a good run while it lasted, and I'm glad that 99% of the core guys transferred over to WrestlePro when that transition happened. So like I said, it's just letters, and other people can try and buy those letters and make a rip-off production of it, but at the end of the day, it's the core talent that made it what it was. And I saw somebody post that anything new that PWS comes out with is going to be similar to Vince McMahon's attempt at ECW. It's going to be a poor, imitation of the original. And I thought that was an awesome compliment to the core guys that busted their ass to make that original PWS letters what it was. And I completely believe that is why WrestlePro has gained so much popularity and success in the short time. If you think about it, think about all the shit that WrestlePro has done, and they've honestly only been around for about a year.
Yeah, that's right.
And we're already getting invited to Orlando to compete at WrestleCon the same weekend as WrestleMania. That's just the heart and soul of that whole roster. And just the camaraderie that I see in the locker room meetings we have before shows. Everybody's still having fun, but getting the job done. Having fun, but not being a goofball about it. Everybody knows that there's a job to do, and the pressure is always on because WrestlePro is always under such a microscope that people are trying to figure out how the F are these guys drawing 1,500, 2,000 people. We bring in names too. It's not always about bringing in core names. Sure, those names will bring in a good crowd, but when you have good core talent that was homegrown talent, that you're able to actually have consistent storylines. I know, independent wrestling and consistent storylines. What a concept! Exactly. It's like people talk crap on the WWE product, but they even if you don't like the storylines at their building, they're trying to get you invested in the character. Why would you? You have to be invested. Otherwise, why would you buy their merchandise? Why would you even want to look them up online and watch a video of their matches? It's the same concept, People are like, people are invested. I mean, look what's going on with Danny Moff just tearing apart the whole freaking security staff. Hammering a woman, and now it's like everybody wants to know what the f is Danny Moff going to do next. Hell, I want to know what the hell he's going to do next, but I'm just lucky he let me live it the last show. Like, holy crap. So, I mean, it's like stuff like that. It's like, and you have those heart and soul guys. You have like Kevin Matthews, Mario Bokara, Danny Moss. He doesn't like to be, I know he doesn't like to be in the public spotlight, but Pat Buck, I mean, obviously, WrestlePro is his brainchild, and, the troops have all jumped aboard, and, we've tried to make him proud, tried to make ourselves proud, and give the fans, the most for their hard-earned dollar. And it's been an amazing run, and to think about all the stuff that WrestlePro's done in a little over a year, and honestly, I think they're just scratching the surface, and who knows what kind of opportunities, once we perform at WrestleCon in Orlando, who knows what kind of opportunities that's going to open, because we're opening WrestleCon on a Thursday. I personally think that that's the best day to perform, because there's no WWE stuff going on Thursday, March the 30th from the Wyndham in Orlando, Florida. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Tickets on sale now, WrestleProOnline.com. But yeah, I mean, on a Thursday, I think there's an independent promotion running somewhere, but there's no WWE stuff. So you're going to have all these fans in town early, chomping at the bit for wrestling stuff, and I mean, they're going to come to WrestleCon. I think we're going to draw a really good crowd on a Thursday night. Wrestling fans hungry for action. They're on vacation. They have money to spend. They've been saving their money for this weekend for a whole year since they announced Orlando was going to be the spotlight. And you know what? We're going to be there to entertain for them, and there's going to be a whole hell of a lot of great matches, and it's going to be awesome. And it's definitely going to be an experience I won't soon forget. It's going to be awesome.
As far as like training goes, do you do like any of the physical training? Because I know every once in a while, there might be a storyline where you have to take a bump or anything. So do you actually do
I'll be honest with you, no. I mean, I'll do, I'll do any storyline they want. I'm not taking any bumps anymore. Yeah. I was involved in an altercation where at House of Glory Beyond Wrestling Super Show earlier in the year, where I did have a face-to-face altercation with another fellow ring announcer, Larry Legend. And he performed a maneuver to me known as the rock bottom, and I have properly practiced how to bump, and the one thing you can never anticipate is the one night that the house microphone isn't working, you have to use the wired microphone, and when I do my who's got time for one more match, and then I do it one more time, who's got time for one more match, and I turn around and Larry Legend puts me in the rock bottom, and I drop the microphone. How am I supposed to know that the wire microphone is going to slowly roll back into the middle of the ring, and then when he gives me the rock bottom, that I'm going to land flat on the flush with the microphone, and it's going to crack my collarbone like you would break a pencil in half. That was pretty much what happened. So yeah, and that's no bullshit. That's like straight up. Yeah. So that was definitely an interesting. That was definitely an interesting summer. I had no summer. So I injured myself on June 17th and had surgery, and now I get the souvenir of a nice. I have 7 screws and a metal plate in my collarbone, and now after 6 months, I'm able to hold my hand over my head finally, and it's definitely been interesting. So yeah, I'm definitely never gonna take another bump again. I'm good with that. I think I've learned that my strength is announcing and save the bumps for the big boys and girls. You know what I'm saying?
So anyone who's expecting that tuxedo match between you and Larry Legend, they could just forget about it.
Nope. I took the high road. Anybody that saw House of Glory's 6-year anniversary event, it was exactly 6 months to the day. It was December 17th. I had no idea he was going to be in the building, and I was getting ready for the main event, the Broken Hardys, Dudley Boys, EYFBO, and Private Party, Fatal 4-Way House of Glory World Tag Team Championship match. Once again, who's got time for one more match? And then as I'm doing the who's got time for one more match, building it up, I realized, wait a minute. What if he's behind me again? And as I turned around, and let me tell you, no one was more surprised than me. I turned around and I saw that son of a bitch in the entranceway looking at me. Oh man, we had a little stare down, but then I didn't let it break my concentration. I kept the crowd going, and then I held the ropes open for him. I said, "You want to come in the ring? Come in the ring." I held the ropes open for him, and the referee was trying to instigate some naughty stuff. My buddy Zachary Snow was looking to announce a bonus match, but honestly, I've had 6 months plus to reflect on that day, and I'd be lying if I said there was never a moment where I wanted to, exact my revenge. Keep in mind, fist flying in the air, I'll get you! But when push came to shove, and it was the biggest crowd ever, there was over 2,000 people at the NYC Arena in Jamaica that night, and when we were face to face, I just got the microphone, and I had 6 months of thinking about this, and I was like, you know what, Larry? I was like, I've had 6 months to realize the error of my ways, and I was like, it's not about the ring announcers, it's about the hard work ethic of the wrestlers, the performers, and it's all about the fans. And I was like, I extend my hand, and I want us to put this behind us, and I put my hand out, and he didn't take my hand. Instead, he just hugged me, and we just had, he shook my hand, and then we had a moment where we just hugged, and all was well, and just put it behind us, and then we both stood proudly in the ring, and we both announced the main event. I announced Private Party. I passed the microphone off to him. He announced his Pazuzu Brothers EYFBO, and then I proceeded to announce the Dudley Boys, Team 3D, and the Broken Hardys. So I had no problem sharing the spotlight on the main event there. There was plenty of spotlight to go around in that match.
Okay, so if you were a wrestler, let me hear your introduction for yourself.
Okay. Oh, gee. This is gonna be good. I've never thought about this a second in my life, I swear. Ladies and gentlemen, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, by way of Manhattan, New York, weighing in at 190 pounds, he is the often outspoken but never imitated debonair, disastrous man of demolition. I just made all that stuff up right there. I've never said that crap before. That was garbage. Let's start over. Mulligan, ladies and gentlemen, fighting out of Manhattan, New York, by way of Las Vegas, Nevada, and weighing in at 190 pounds, debonair, David Adams! There you go, that's much better. Whew, I got carried away. You guys got my heartbeat going here, getting all pumped up. But yeah, I honestly, and I actually have been in one wrestling match before, and I'm proud to say that it landed me on Bad Wrestlers Exposed, and it was an 8-man tag team match where I got tagged in for the hot tag after the heel had just taken a 3D. Not from the Dudleys, but from another team. And then I came in and I did probably the worst people's elbow ever. And then I covered the dude for the 1, 2, 3. And then after that, and ironically enough, after that dude, quote unquote, put me over, oh man, he's breaking the fourth wall. After that dude put me over, we actually became pretty good friends in the business. And I let him chop me in private once. I was like, I'll let you chop me one time because you put over the ring announcer. And we became really good friends after that.
So, David, I want to get back to Larry Legend for a second. When he commentates, he usually interrupts the match. Like, this match is going on for 5 minutes. You don't seem to do that. You just stay quiet. Do you feel like that's also a distraction to the performance? Or
I have mixed, honestly. Larry was my mentor. I broke into PWS, and he was the ring announcer, and I got my break there, and we kind of worked together for a little bit, and he kind of showed me the ropes of the, bigger stage of indie wrestling, and, you know what? That's his gimmick. The gimmick is the iPad he comes in. He uses it, he uses it for his note card. He uses it for, to film in the ring. I think everybody should have their, I believe they call it in the business, everybody should have their shtick, their gimmick, have you? Is it for me? No. Who am I to say that it's right or wrong? You know what? If a performer is going to get distracted by the ring announcer's iPad, then he probably should, practice a little bit more, because there's far greater distractions out there, like a heckling drunk fan that's not going to shut the hell up for 10 minutes and just bother you and try and make you break your concentration. You should probably just focus on, putting on a good match and focus on not getting hurt. I don't know. Larry's got his own style. I'll leave it at that. Not for me. I personally, but like I said, this isn't me saying his style is wrong. I'm just saying that, and I think that it's good that we're not exactly the same, because why would you want everybody to be the same? I'm personally of the old school mentality that the ring announcer has a set job to do. Anybody that's seen me announce knows that as soon as the announcement is over, you blink your eyes, I'm out of the ring, and I go sit down. I usually have a designated chair next to the timekeeper, or sometimes I am the timekeeper. I'm a man of, I spin on many plates. Sometimes I try and be skilled at everything but the wrestling. We've already gone over that epic fail. But yeah, I'm there for whatever they ask of me, non-wrestling related. And Larry's got his own style, and it works for him. When I first started out in the business, the very first show I ever did in New York was a show for a company called Fight the World Wrestling, FTW. It was at the Queensboro Elks Lodge, and when I first did it, for like 2-3 hours straight, it was, "You're not Larry, clap, 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 clap. Who are you? You're not Larry, clap, 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 clap." And it's like, and now I get, I can't even start a show sometimes without, the fans, and it's kind of weird when you're trying to start like a WrestlePro show in the ring, and the next thing you know, there's like 1,500 people going, "David Adams, clap, 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 clap," and I'm like, you'll notice, I'll start to blush because I don't know what to do, and I'm like, and then I guess as Jericho would say, I drink it in, man, and I just, I take it as the ultimate compliment, like, wow, this is, it is possible to get yourself over without, getting yourself over. I don't try and get myself over. I guess I'm over because I focus on getting everybody else over, the boys and girls in that locker room come first, whether it's announcing them, whether it's putting over their merchandise before the show, intermission, whatever, I guess, the fans recognize that I do. I earn my payday. I bust my butt, and I try and do everything I can to help the promoter, because I'm also that, on the football field, in the old school backyard of football, there was always that guy that didn't have one position. He played all positions, and they called him the Monster Man. And I guess I'm the Monster Man, where if you need me to go run and go get a talent to sit at a meet and greet table, I'll run and get him. You need me to go relay a message, you need me to go and deliver something, I'll do all the running, whatever makes it easiest. So a lot of the talent, they don't want to leave the backstage locker room once the fans enter the door. I have the ability that I can, walk around freely and greet people, because I'm the, the host, have you, in some aspects. But yeah, I guess to make a short story long, yeah, I respect Larry's style. I just have my own, and I guess that's really all I have to say about that.
So when you're at WrestlePro and you're announcing people, who are your favorite people to announce?
Oh God, that's totally put me on the spot. I love announcing the whole roster, but yeah, I gotta admit, first and foremost, I love to announce Bobby Wayward, because I know that he's going to get so much heat, and they boo him, yet I know they're not. My goal is to give him a good announcement, even though I know everybody's booing, because I know they're not booing my announcing, they're just booing him because he's such a great piece of shit heel, that it works out so good, that, yeah, he's so good at his job. So I always like to try and give him that big over-the-top announcement, because the more he's like, yay, love me, the more they're going to hate him. As crazy and maniacal as he's been lately, Danny Moff's always been one of my favorites, because Danny knows how to time it properly. He gets in the ring. He knows it when I'm holding out his name. I'm like, Danny! And when I hit that Moff, he comes around with that big, powerful, like, fist up in the air, swings it around, and it's like we've been doing that. We've been doing that together for 20 years. It feels like. So yeah. You can never go wrong with Kevin Matthews, because he's, one of the heart and souls of WrestlePro. It's always good to announce him. It felt awesome to announce a Ryback when he first came in to WrestlePro. Same thing with Cody. I mean, announcing Pat Buck, it's always fun. I mean, Pat never likes to be put over, so I won't put too much of a spotlight on him. I know he likes to just do his thing and let WrestlePro speak for itself. Another one that's fun to announce whenever Jeff Jarrett comes to town. I know that I'm going to have to keep my cool and concentration because you haven't lived until you've tried to do a proper ring announcement without breaking a breath or syllable or looking scared when you got Karen Jarrett barking in your face from like 6 inches away. She's telling you, you're going to mess up. You suck. It is the best because she's so good at what she does, and I never messed up yet. Hear this sound? That's knocking on wood right there. But man, yeah, they're always fun. I mean, guys, the Taboo crew. I mean, they've come such a long way. They got the music. They got the style. They got the big guy. They got the speedster. They got the over the top how you doing manager and Gino Gotch. I mean, it's great. He's straight out of a Mob Up movie. It's fantastic. I mean, honestly, there's. As despicable as they are, any member of the Edward Jackson 5, because they always come out with their own swagger. So it's always good, that they come out, and you never know how the crowd's going to react to them. But I always want to try and give them that consistent entrance, no matter what. I mean, honestly, I could go on and on. Mario Bokara had such a powerful entrance that I always like to time his entrance around his theme music, because I never want to talk over like the key points of the song, because it's such a good song, and he's such a proud native Croatian that the crowd just can't get enough of him. So I mean, I could just name the whole roster, but WrestlePro's been so good to me, and that company's just getting started, and they've already done so much.
My favorite is CPA.
Yeah. You know what? Now you're gonna make me feel bad because CPA, his entrance is always good. And it's funny. I love his entrance because the crowd's always gonna pop for him. But I always want to test myself because his name is only 3 letters. I always like to see how long I can make a CPA sound in an announcement. So I'll turn CPA like a 2-second intro into like 10 seconds long, just to prove that I can make 3 letters like the biggest entrance possible. And honestly, I can't forget about him. He's one of my best friends on that roster. Habib from the car wash. Habib's a good dude right there. And a long time ago, I told that dude, you don't have to be the biggest guy on the roster, and I guarantee you work hard, you are going to be one of the most popular superstars that this company has ever seen. And then, he went from being a high-class hipster to being the man from the car wash, and the rest is history. He's one of the hardest working dudes, and I believe he just recently won the Wawa, the We Are WrestlePro award for most popular superstar. So that's the crowd doesn't forget about him. It's not necessarily the size of the competitor, but the heart and the gimmick is great, and his moveset is fantastic. And if you're just a personable character that people can invest in, what a concept! Once again, people invest in the likes of CPA and Habib. Of which are going to be having matches 3 and 4 of their Best of 5 series coming up February 10th from the Starland Ballroom in Sayreville, New Jersey, and February 11th from the St. Pat's in Brooklyn, New York on February the 11th. Tickets on sale now, WrestleProOnline.com. Man, that segue stuff's getting pretty easy, right?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But having CPA and Habib in a Best of 5 series is like a dream come true. And and they're both, they both have a victory over each other, so it's tied at 1 match apiece. So, gosh, I could talk about fight forever. Those guys could have matches forever. It's amazing, and I'm sure they would never do the same stuff twice. It's just greatness.
You have a great voice, clearly, obviously. If you could voice any single cartoon, what would it be?
If I could do the voice for any single cartoon?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I have never thought about that before. Whew. It's a tough question, guys. You are really putting me on the spot. Let me think here. Well, I've learned something announcing today that on Wrestling IQ 101, my buddy Andrew and Derek, and I forget the other Beatles' name, I do apologize. I knew that there was 3 Musketeers over there, have taught me that wrestling is a fun, worthwhile experience, and it is nice to share that experience on a lovely podcast such as Wrestling IQ 101. And that's what their handle is if you're checking it out on Facebook or Twitter or any other social network media outlet. But I've never thought about what voice I would do, so I just like to sit here and practice my microphone, and I'll sit in front of red lights and look like a crazy person while I talk to myself, and I say, and if people look at me, I go, hey, you can suck my balls and respect my authority. Of course, Cartman, he's the man. Everybody's got an inner Cartman inside of them. Come on, now. Read this.
I don't think I could do it as well, but
That's funny, man. That's funny. That's true.
you've also got to work with Sam Roberts and Dave
Oh
Destruction.
my God, Sam is the man. Yeah, I have had the privilege of working with the lyrical mastermind himself, the man, the master of the play on words. Yeah, Sam. We don't usually see eye to eye. Actually, we never see eye to eye, and generally he gets the last laugh and the last comment on me during. We have gotten to do commentary together. Yeah, he's very quick-witted. He's extremely intelligent. A pain in the ass, but I gotta say, from a professional standpoint, I love the guy, and it was great to see him as part of the pre-show panel for a recent WWE pay-per-view event. So I hope that becomes a recurring thing for him, because he's as professional as he is, he's a lifelong WWE fan, and I know that gig means the world to him, and he's already so talented at what he does, between being the man on Sirius, and then as far as having his own wrestling podcast and everything, and all the extracurricular work he's done for all us boys, and girls, and whether it was PWS or he shows up at a Wrestle Pro event, it's always most appreciated, and he's always such a great attribute, and I'll never forget him choke slamming Nikos Ricos and then eliminating him from that Rumble match. That is going to be definitely one of the most classic things ever. After all the history that me and Nikos Ricos had, it's definitely a classic case of the enemy of your enemy is your friend. Definitely, I was all about it. God bless him. No offense to Nikos Ricos, a hell of a talent. But that was Sam Roberts' shining moment, and he got to be a wrestler and not break his collarbone, unlike my dumbass self. So God bless him.
Have you ever thought about doing like stand up or going into comedy?
Well, once again, God, you just opened up the whole door. I'll reveal the current. I actually did try stand-up before. I tried stand-up comedy once before I got into pro wrestling announcing. And believe it or not, I know you're going to find this to be very shocking, but I had a major case of stage fright. And I did. I had a 5-minute stand-up bit prepared. I practiced it probably 1,000 times. My buddy got me hooked up with this nightclub in Allentown, Pennsylvania. They were going to have me do like a Wednesday, but apparently they had a call out, and they were like, hey, we'll get you on the Friday show, and the weekend shows are the big shows, and there was some big names on there, and they said that, we're going to have the MC, that's the opener, and then we're going to let you start after him. He's going to do like a 2-minute monologue, and then you're going to come on for 5 minutes, and then we'll get into the main guys. Well, let me tell you something. This was in like a hotel, one of those ballrooms or whatever, where they have meetings and shit like that. And there was like 500 people in there. It was packed. And I made the mistake. Somewhere my inner little Jiminy Cricket was like, oh, you're nervous. Oh, do a couple shots. That'll calm you down. Never drink alcohol before you do something. It seems like a good idea, but it's not. It just I was so scared. Dude, I got up there, and literally, and this effed me up for a while, too. I got up there, literally, it's exactly what everybody describes it. It's a deer in headlights. I got up there, I was like, they were like, welcome so-and-so. We'll just say David Adams. Welcome, David Adams. And then you heard a couple people go, and then there was like the dickhead drunk guy in the front row. I never anticipated hecklers. In the wrestling business, you always have to be prepared for hecklers because, it is what it is. and I wasn't prepared for the heckler. I had this great joke all lined up where I was going to pull a tampon out of my pocket. I don't even know. It was a tampon joke, and it was, in my mind, it was hilarious, but the delivery was completely botched because I was like, and then this is all I heard, literally. Silence. Somebody in the back clearing their throat. Somebody else going, choke. And then the dickhead in the front row showing me no disrespect. I was telling the joke about virginity, losing my virginity, and he's like, you are a virgin. And that was the biggest laugh I got. 500 people laughed at me because the guy said I was a virgin. And then, dude, I don't even know. I fought my way through the routine. I wanted to leave. I talked like this fast, and none of my punchlines made any sense. And then finally, when I was done, I said, "Thank you very much for your time. Have a good night. I'm so sorry." I was like, "I'm so sorry." And the next thing you know, one asshole on the back's got to go like this. It was literally out of that, not another teen movie where one douchebag's got to clap. The person that claps at the wrong time. Oh my God! I literally got back to my table. And I and my friends, I'm just like, can we just go? And then when I got back, I crashed on my buddy's couch. I just remember drinking my face off until I just passed out. And and then literally probably like another 3 years went by before that leaded to that Danny Bonaducci story that I told you about earlier. And I was like, because I was like, there comes a point where in life people are like, you have your normal shitty job you don't really want to go to sometimes, and then there's the real job you really are passionate about, but it's not going to pay the bills, and you don't know how to get into that line of work. But I don't know. I just said, you know what? Stand-up comedy's not really for me, but I want to be an announcer, and I just finally got my shit together and said, stop saying you're going to do it and just go and do it. And who cares? And who cares if people make fun of you? And who cares how many doors you have to knock down? Dude, to this day, I get rejected by 3 times the amount of companies that I get booked by. But I'm never offended, because the way I look at it is, at least now I'm on their radar. If they are in need of an announcer, I don't burn a bridge. I say thank you for your time, and if that payday happens to pop up for me down the line, then give me that opportunity, and I guarantee you're not going to want to use another announcer ever again. So I can't focus on the competition that's out there. Everybody's got their thing, and it took me a long time to realize you just got to do your thing and stop worrying about other people, and just do your thing, do it the right way, do it respectfully, and I just try and do my job, to the best of my ability. And if that happens to make it that I do my job, really, really well, then that's awesome. So that's why I'm a madman. And some people use the dojos and they take bumps on practice mats. My practice time is my commute to work and back, so I can practice in the car. And I'm meticulous about timing and where to breathe properly and where to let the fan say 1 fall. I gotta time it properly, and people want to come and see a show. I think that was quoted by Pat on one of his podcasts. Some people just put on a wrestling event. He wants to put on a show where you're going to the theater. You want to sit down for 3 hours, 2-3 hours. You want to be entertained. The lights go off. It's time. The music. Everything's orchestrated properly. And I'm just proud to be a part of it. Organization is key, and it's the little things that separate the good companies from the great companies, and it's all in the details. All the little details. All those little details add up, and I think whether it's the announcer or it's the referees or it's the timekeeper, the performers obviously doing their thing, and everything meshes together to make that magical world of pro wrestling happen. So it's awesome. And then that's when people are like, "Oh, you're such a great announcer." I'm like, I wouldn't be a great announcer if there wasn't such great talent to entertain. If the fans weren't so passionate with their cheers and their jeers, because I definitely react off the crowd. So if the crowd emotion is high, it's good that I've announced in front of a couple of shows early in my day where it was like 5, 10 people, 15 people in front of, and it's like, can you keep that same energy level as if there's 500 people? Because I've been to some shows where, some of the performers want to almost like mail it in sometimes. It's like, well, all right, we got 7 people out there. They're paying customers. Why would you want to dick them over? They came out to the show. Screw everybody else. They're missing out. Let's give these 7 people the freaking hell of a show, and then we'll put it on YouTube and we'll laugh about it later on, and hopefully, we get exposure off the YouTube hits and stuff like that. You should always try and, perform to the best of your ability, no matter what you are on the show, whether you're the ring girl, whether you're the announcer, the referee. Like I said, you want to, just bust your ass, and I think if you bust your ass in the small shows, like I said earlier, that'll make that transition. If you're lucky enough to be able to announce in front of 1,000 people, 1,500 people, 2,000 people, and so on and so forth, and maybe one day, if I'm lucky enough, and that transition to getting a shot to announce in front of 15,000 people happens, even if it's like a dark match or something, at least I'll be prepared for it.
So I have 2 final questions that kind of bleed into each other. So when you growing up, who were some of your favorite wrestlers to watch?
Well, definitely the Macho Man, Shawn Michaels, Ultimate Warrior. Those are right off the bat. And then as I grew older, Jeff Hardy, the Hardy Boys as a whole, but Jeff Hardy's his in-ring skills as a solo competitor were amazing. And it's funny, 20 years later, it's Matt Hardy who's even more over than Jeff Hardy now, which 20 years ago nobody would have ever thought that was possible. And I think that's what makes the Hardy Boys so amazing, is that they were actually able to flip-flop who's more over. Yeah. In addition, oh man, I mean, I could talk all day. I mean, you can never go wrong. I was that little hyper kid that was always flexing like Hulk Hogan, putting the hand to the ear, running around like a little savage. But yeah, I mean, I was so into all that there. And then once the '90s hit, definitely. I mean, Bret was amazing. I could honestly watch Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit matches all day long. I mean, all the horrible stuff that Chris Benoit did obviously overshadows, the legacy he left behind in the ring. But I mean, in the privacy of my own time, you just go back and watch, like, Eddie Guerrero versus Benoit versus Kurt Angle, and it's just like so much great stuff there. Edge was the man. I mean, as we go even later on, Edge was always so captivating. But, yeah, I mean, definitely top 3 would definitely have to be Shawn Michaels, Macho Man, and Ultimate Warrior.
So this leads into my next question. So now that WrestlePro brings in some of the legends, and you're talking about House of Glory, bringing in some people, who have been your favorite legends to announce to the ring?
And I was hoping you were going to ask that question. That's why I left him out of the last one. And this man's also on the list too. Dude, I got to announce Ric Flair. Are you kidding me? That was awesome. That's like saying that you shook hands with Sinatra, or you caught a home run off of Babe Ruth. I mean, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, Ric Flair. Yeah. I mean, I've announced a lot of great legends, but the Ric Flair one was special to me too, because I told you I broke my collarbone in June, and I knew that I was going to have an opportunity to announce Flair in September. So that was one of the major focal points of me getting better. Was I was like, I'm going to be good. I'm not going to wear. I wanted to make sure I was good enough not to have to wear a sling in the ring, and I made sure that I was good. And I counted the days before, and I wanted to make sure I got that perfect, and that was definitely beyond an honor. But I've gotten it. I mean, there's so many other. That's just one that was real special to me, because everything about Ric Flair was awesome to me growing up. From the promo work to the in-ring skills, the dirty tactics. I was the guy that always cheered for the heels. It was just me. I always liked the bad guys. I mean, some of my favorite wrestlers were all baby faces too, but I always liked the bad guys because I liked how they could, trick the referee and whatnot. So, but I've been working with the Rock and Roll Express. Have been 2 of the coolest dudes I've ever gotten to work with. I'm looking forward to working with them again. Jake the Snake Roberts is coming to WrestlePro. Jake's an awesome dude to be in the ring with. Totally great. It's always great to be around Diamond Dallas Page. Yeah, he's got such positive energy, and he always tries to share that positive message. I mean, I mean, honestly, if I sit here, I'm sitting here right now, kind of just hiding out in my bedroom here and just talking to you guys and thinking about it. That'll probably overwhelm me how many names I've gotten to actually work with. Honestly, now that we have time to digest it, I mean, Rob Van Dam, got to announce him. I mean, House of Glory has given me countless opportunities. Brian Excel and Amazing Red. I mean, announcing Amazing Red versus Rey Mysterio. There you go. I mean, Rey Mysterio is like that was another guy. His movesets they always captivated me. Him versus Red was amazing. Rob Van Dam, John Morrison. I mean, coming up in February, Alberto, formerly Alberto Del Rio, now Alberto El Patron. I mean, I'm going to get to announce him. Definitely, I mean, it's definitely a pretty crazy atmosphere. I had a great time at the last show. I got to announce Eddie Edwards. He brought the TNA World title with him. Had a nice controversial match with Anthony Gangone. He was the House of Glory champion for a split second, but it was overruled, and Anthony Gangone kept his title by hook or by crook, as they say. But yes, I mean, it definitely growing up. I remember always doing the RVD thumbs to the shoulders, and getting to announce him a couple times was pretty cool because he's a fun dude in the ring, and he'll tell jokes to you in the ring to try and make you laugh and throw you off too, which is pretty cool because usually nobody can throw me off, and he's come pretty close to making me laugh just by being a cool dude. And I didn't really realize it at the time, but at the last House of Glory show, it looks like that may have been Devon Dudley's last wrestling match, as he's taken a pretty nice executive job, like a trainer's job in the WWE. So if that was the last, if I had the privilege of announcing the final match that the Dudley Boys ever had, that's like, to me, that's like, holy shit. You know, I don't really think about that, but it's at the same time, it's like, you know, when I grow older in my time, you know, if I ever give up the ring announcing, which I probably won't, I'll probably be this little overly hairy nostriled old man with gray hair, still trying to creep in the ring, you know, hoping that there's rings there so I can get in the ring easier. And I'll probably still be trying to do it. But if I ever do say goodbye and I look back at all the memories, that would be pretty cool. Just to know that I got to. And Devon referred to me. He's like, when I went to talk to him in the locker room, he was like, hey, he's like, is that you out there who sounds like Michael Buffer? And just the fact that he compared me to Michael Buffer, I was like, does that mean it sounds good? He goes, yeah, you sound great. So, you know, if a guy like that's like can call me like, compare me like Michael Buffer, I'm like, holy crap, that's pretty cool. Thank you, sir. And, you know, what do you do? You know, and Bubba Ray was awesome. He's a pretty cool guy. I don't know. It's definitely the Dudley Boys were two of my favorite dudes to watch growing up with that old school ECW days, because those guys, you knew that they were doing it for the love of the sport. There wasn't a lot of money in the original ECW there, and those guys just stole the damn crowd every time. That's pretty cool. So I don't know. I could go on and on about that. I just, I try not to focus on the me aspect. I focus on the part that it's pretty cool that I get paid money to be in the same ring as these guys, and give them awesome entrances. And at the end of the night, if they say thank you, that sounded great, then that's beyond humbling. Drew Galloway, just got to work with him at Battle Club Pro again. Drew Galloway, one of the coolest dudes I've ever worked with. That dude is somebody, it's nice when you bump into people that you know are big names, but they just act like normal everyday Joes, and it reminds you that, wow, it is possible. It's like, and I look at that and I'm like, if I ever make it to that next level of stardom at what I do, I never want to change the person that I am, and always be respectful. And it's beyond just shaking hands with everybody too when you get in the locker room. It's having that good work ethic. It's always being there for the fans. Doing it for the love of the sport and having fun. I don't know if I made up that catchphrase, but if having fun but getting the job done isn't taken, I'll trademark it because it sounds pretty cool. And it really is what it's all about. You go there to have fun. But you're also not there to be on vacation. There is a job to do, but if you can have fun and get the job done, then that truly is living the dream as far as I'm concerned.
If fans want to find you, they want to reach you, how can they do that?
You can look, but I will hide. You will not find me. No, in all seriousness, Facebook.com/DavidAdams.ringannouncer, or just type in David Adams. Just look for the guy with his beautiful girlfriend. Oh, Debbie Kane, now accepting bookings. My lovely girlfriend, also a professional wrestler. Highly, highly, highly underused. If anybody's out there that's a manager, she can use a manager. I think the fact that she doesn't talk on the microphone, people don't realize that she exists. There's been plenty of great wrestlers out there that don't have the best speaking skills on the microphone, but yet they still are able to be very, very, very dominant in their industry. So if there's any managers out there that are looking to manage a rough and tough but very sexy female, Debbie Kane now accepting bookings, promoters. As far as I'm concerned, David Adams, the ring announcer gimmick there on Facebook is good. Twitter handle at Voice of the Ring. Instagram, David Adams underscore, or David underscore Adams underscore WrestlePro. It's something there, yeah. I use a couple underscores, so apparently David Adams is a popular name in real life. Go figure. But yeah, otherwise, hit me up. Check out, I'm sure if anybody wants to go through Wrestling IQ 101 to find out about me, these gentlemen could be a good mediator in getting the information out there. Otherwise, just come out to a live event, Come out to see, if you want to support me, that's awesome. Come out and support the boys and girls. WrestlePro coming up February the 10th, Starland Ballroom, Sayreville, New Jersey, featuring Cody Rhodes versus Mario Boccara versus Leo Rush, featuring the big guy Ryback's going to be there. The tag team titles will be on the line. The Heavenly Bodies versus Mega Muscle, Mike Verna and the Big O making their WrestlePro debuts. The next, and actually that one might be in Brooklyn the next night, February 11th. Check WrestleProOnline.com, WrestlePro's Facebook page. Their Twitter handle is WrestlePro. Nice and simple. As far as I'm concerned, I'm a part of all those. You can just look those up. Also, check out House of Glory's got a big event coming up in February. Let's make sure I get my crew over there. Let me look at my calendar real quick here. Oh yeah, so many bookings, can't memorize them all. Let's see here. House of Glory with Glory. House of Glory is coming up February 18th, NYC Arena. With Glory comes Pride, Alberto El Patron versus World Warrior Low Key. That's going to be a pretty sick match from what I can tell. HOGWrestling.net. Check them out. Check out my boys at Battle Club Pro. I believe their handle is X Battle Club Pro. Carlos Aristi's got a good product there. After only 2 shows, I can tell that he's just getting started. It's just, I can't wait for the busy season to start happening. It all happens, WrestlePro in Orlando at WrestleCon Night 1, Thursday, March the 30th, 8:30 p.m. Bell time. Come fly down. Come drive down. Start walking now. You'll be in Florida by then if you start walking now. Man, oh man, it's going to be fun. It's going to be all kinds. I think they signed Grado versus Swoggle. That sounds like a pretty awesome match to me. But yeah, any of that will be good. I could plug stuff all night long. But just come out, support indie wrestling. Support good indie wrestling. Everybody in that locker room busts their tail, and you're always going to have something to invest, a character or a storyline to invest yourselves in, and you're going to always have a great fan-friendly experience. And when the big names come in, the meet and greet pricing, compared to other places, they're not trying to rip you off. Everything is always very reasonable and affordable and a good family-friendly atmosphere. A couple bad words here and there, but if you bring your kid to a pro wrestling event and you don't expect there to be any swearing, then you're really just kidding yourselves. And it happens every once in a while. People aren't throwing F-bombs out left and right, but eventually you might hear a potty word, and that's just pro wrestling.
And to all of our lovely fans, you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, at WrestlingIQ101. You can check us out at WrestlingIQ101.com. You can listen to this great interview along with all of our other great interviews. Make sure you subscribe to the page. And we thank you for listening to this episode. Dave, we thank you for all of your time, answering our question, giving us some great laughs, doing some great impersonations. We really appreciate it, man.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me on. It was really an honor. And, anytime you guys want me back on, we can do it again. We can talk about whatever you guys want.
Thanks, awesome. Man. We appreciate it.